If you've been wanting to build a solid budget gaming PC and only have $500 in your pocket, well, you came to the right place. At the time of making this video, this entire build cost $497.42, and it is the best budget gaming PC that you can build for under $500 currently. In fact, I will be doing a build guide for this exact same PC along with a Windows installation guide, and actually if the video is done, I will link it down below along with all of the parts used in this PC build. Speaking of parts, I went with the i3-6100 Skylake processor. Even though it's labeled as a dual core, it kind of acts as a quad core thanks to hyper-threading. I did try to keep the cost down, so I didn't pick up an aftermarket cooler or a Z170 motherboard. I mean, after all, the CPU is locked anyways. I picked up the AC Wi-Fi edition of the ASRock H110N because for only $68, this board comes with some pretty nice features. 32GB DDR4 support, mini ITX form factor, onboard USB 3 for front panel connections, and most importantly, it has a built-in Wi-Fi module, so you can connect it to the internet without buying any additional adapters. I did go with only one stick of 8 gigs of RAM, so that there is room for an extra 8 gigs later down the line. You can also upgrade the CPU to an i5-6400, 65, or even a 6600 in the near future. For storage, I decided to skip hard drives altogether and put in a single SSD from Silicon Power, which is one of the most affordable 240GB SSDs you can buy for around $50. It just makes sense to use an SSD as your main drive. However, there are 3 additional SATA ports on the motherboard for 3 more storage devices. In my case, I added a 1TB hard drive as well, although it's not included in the build price. Since I had a budget of only $500, I had to pick the best GPU for the money, and after countless research and looking at benchmarks, the Asus Strix RX 460 was the obvious choice, and I was not disappointed with its performance, which you guys will see soon enough. Housing all the parts is the Thermaltake Core V1 Mini ITX tower once again, but this time I went with the color black, as I have used the white version previously for Ice Cube, which was actually a $600 gaming PC. Finally, powering up the build is a 430-watt power supply from EVGA, which is enough to juice up this entire configuration. Even if you manage to upgrade the CPU to an i7-6700 with an RX 480, this PSU will still be plenty. The PC is also fairly cool in terms of temps, which is surprising since there is no aftermarket cooler or any extra case fans. The CPU peaks at 62 degrees on full load, while the GPU maxes out at 66 degrees during overclock mode. It's also pretty quiet during full load, and here's what it sounds like while gaming. For the Firestrike benchmark, it pretty much ties with Volt, which is the $550 gaming PC I did for April. However, it doesn't stand a chance against Ice Cube, which was the $600 build, rocking the R9 380, which performs much better than the RX 460. Looking at rendering times, it's no surprise that it falls behind. After all, it is a dual-core processor, and using this PC for editing is not recommended. Surprisingly, it did better than 2 of the PCs on the chart, so I guess it's not that bad. And finally, here are the gaming benchmarks. Please note that all of these benchmarks were done 3 times per game, and also the settings were set to high, and the resolution is 1080p. Hope you guys enjoy. So there you have it, guys, some very impressive numbers for Dark Cube. Who would have thought you can game over 60 FPS and high settings using a 6100 dual core processor? As always, there will be a build guide for this exact same PC in case you guys want a step-by-step guide on how to build a Dark Cube for yourselves. This will also include a Windows installation guide as well. If the video is ready, I'll link it down below along with all the parts I mentioned in this video. If you guys enjoy these monthly PC builds, be sure to leave a like. It really does help me and help out the channel a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always,